because he's got something very special indeed to introduce you to. Down to you, Ben.
It's Scott Conway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are down here at the fan walk on the false grid International GT. Ken, I'm sorry, how many cars you got out here today? 52 cars here at Watkins Glen, and we've had a lot of sellouts here in International GT. Probably the most fun, the coolest racing here at any of these Speed Tour events. We've got Porsche Caymans in the Stuttgart Cup. We've got Ferrari 458, Ferrari 488s, and then we've got all kinds of GT3, GT4 Cup cars, 4Rs. I don't even know if I'm right. Ken's over there nodding his head. But one of the coolest stories here this weekend is all the females that we have racing and potentially racing. We're going to start with racing legend Pippa Mann, who's Jody Miller's co-driver. She's also strategist and driver coach. So she never knows. It's basically strategy, how it plays out. Explain why you may not know if you're going to get in the car.
Well, I can't explain too much because that would be giving everything away to our competitors. But the long and short of it is everybody stays nice and clean and clean. That's a pretty good chance Jody's going to let me take a few laps in that number 3 blue car before the end of today.
Nice. So look out for that in that beautiful Speed Tour blue Porsche. Pippa Mann might be going out there with TLM in the going out there with Jody Miller, who's also going to be racing in the TA race here tomorrow. Then Judith, you had some great racing out there yesterday with Speed Sport. So how do you explain, oh, I can't go with you this weekend because I'm going racing at Watkins Glen? How do you explain International GT to your friends?
I'm very lucky. I don't really have to explain because my husband is also in the race and he's a longtime IGT member. And we are very lucky that we get to do this amazing sport together.
Nice. Now, are you guys super competitive on the track, or do you give each other some grace?
We definitely give each other some grace, and he's in a different class, so that helps me. And I have some catching up to do because he started 10 years earlier than me.
Nice. I love it. Now I'm going to come around here behind you, talk to Maria. Maria won her class yesterday, also won a certificate for some Fixie wheels, one of the great International GT marketing partners. How does it feel to be out here in this endurance race?
It's incredible. It's a great opportunity. Hope to inspire other girls to get involved in motorsports. It's a great challenge. It's a great opportunity for all of us. Let's go and win. Woo!
Nice. I love it. And one thing to know about women in motorsports, and Pippa, I'm going to get you to talk about this. How do we encourage more? But also something to know, there are no lady T's in motorsports. You guys are all on equal equipment out there kicking butt like you did yesterday, Maria. So how do we encourage more females to get involved in racing?
So one of the big things is I actually run a group called Shift Up Now, and we are dedicated to trying to help fund female athletes in motorsport. Everybody's heard about the funding disparity between women's sports and men's sports, and the same thing kind of applies to motorsport. It's tough for women to find the funding to go racing, and at Shift Up Now, that's what we're trying to do, because we believe that if she can see her, she can be her. So more female role models on the racetrack, more female role models running up front. That's our goal. That's what we aim to do.
Nice. Okay, so now I'd be remiss because now everybody's rooting for you guys. So Pippa, what number are you going to be racing under?
TLM, blue and red, with the red go faster stripes, number 3.
Number 3. Judith, what number are you?
I'm in a black, yellow Cayman, and the number is 144.
144, a gross, right? And then Maria, what are you in?
I am driving the koi car, black and white Cayman, Quirt Racing, number 11.
Nice, I love it. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Where is Ken Fangler? All right, so as we're getting about 5 minutes, Ken, 52 cars on the grid. You've had 2 great races yesterday. What are you expecting here? The weather looks great. I think the biggest crowd I've seen here at Watkins Glen for this race, and the biggest group of cars.
Yeah, it's a special opportunity to be here at the Glen anytime you get to race here. Such a wonderful circuit and the facility. Very thankful to be part of this Speed Tour event. And what I'm hoping for and what I'm looking for is a good, clean race just like yesterday's. We had 2 good sprint races, and we hope for 60 minutes of great racing with International GT. I'd like to thank everyone who's come out, all the spectators, the fans, and all the teams and families who support these racers. It's a great opportunity. Very thankful to be here.
Nice. I love it. Well, let's go talk to some drivers here. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this is the Community Beer Works International GT Endurance Race. Community Beer Works is our title sponsor throughout the weekend. We're going to talk to Chris Smith here in a little bit, supplying the beer. But Colin Cohen, Maserati, you know, I know you from the Maranello Cup, and now you and it looks like your driving mate Chris Coffey from Norwood Auto Italia. You're driving a different Italian car today.
That's right. Well, that's the team of it. This is a fairly unique car. There are very few of them around. It's a GT4 car by licensing, and it should be fun to play with the Caymans in it.
So is this more set up for endurance racing, or you just wanted to get a new flavor?
Yeah, it's a World Challenge type car, so 1 hour out there is more or less what this is for. It's a comfortable car to drive. It's got a longer wheelbase, easier to deal with the curbs, friendly, user-friendly to everybody.
Nice. I love it. Well, as we come up here, I'm going to try to talk to Jimmy or anybody that I see. This is a 1 hour race with a 5-minute pit stop. Some of the teams choose to refuel. Where is Jimmy? Here he is. Let's talk to Jimmy right here in the middle of this sandwich. Jimmy Adams with Featherlight Coaches. You and Mike Skinner. I haven't seen him. Is he your co-driver today? What's going on, and how are you starting this Enduro?
Mike Skinner is my co-driver today, so we'll see what happens strategy-wise, but we're going to try to get him in. He's an old hat here, man. My first time here, so I'm learning a lot, and this guy's been helping me a lot. But he keeps saying something about rubbing is racing. And I said, no, not in Porsches. But we're going to try to keep our nose clean and see if we can't get this thing up towards the podium.
Yeah, usually in Mike Skinner's kind of racing here at Watkins Glen, rubbing is racing. But Ken Fengler frowned on that comment here in the background. But you're telling your friends you're going cup racing, but this is a different kind of cup car this weekend, isn't it?
Has anybody looked at Tom Pank's car? It has patches all up and down both sides, and it's in victory lane every time it hits the racetrack. Rubbing is racing. You got to be aggressive. You got to go when it's time to go. I told Jimmy, I said, when he gets in that car, forget you're the car owner and you got to pay to fix it. Just act like a driver. And he looked at me like he didn't know if he wanted me to drive his car or not.
Yeah. The only person that gets an unlimited budget is my wife, so we got to watch what we're spending here, bud.
Yes, sir.
I love it. Well, that's this beautiful Featherlight car here. Drivers to your cars. Please, all drivers to your cars here. We're going to talk to Chris Smith here, even though he's going to give us the command. But check this out. Look at this. Community Beer Works, I believe, out of Buffalo, New York. Absolutely. Chris, tell us about sponsoring this international GT race here this weekend.
Well, we've been brewing beer for communities like this for the last 10 years. We're real proud to be associated with International GT, with our partners at RS1 and CBW Racing. We're just real proud to be a part of this community today.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. We're going to hear from you here in a little bit. But, Jonathan, I'm going to send it back up to you. I think you've got some special announcements to take place, and then we're going to come back here for kind of the opening ceremonies here with the Community Beer Works International GT Enduro Race.
Thanks, Ben. Yep, absolutely. And I always look forward to these races because IGT put on a great show, International GT Racing. And look at this. What a sight here at the Glen. Packed house once again. The beautiful rolling hills. The Finger Lakes in the background to the left there. Very famous. There are several Finger Lakes all headed towards Canada, which is about, 3 hours north from here, to Toronto. And, yeah. Gets a bit cold in the winter, but it's absolutely glorious in the summer. And as you can see, the RVs and campers are all out because that's what they do. They make it a festival. They come out and effectively set up shop, set up camp, and then the summer finishes off. There they are. And I know my good friend Adam Andretti, who'll be joining me for the TA race tomorrow. He's parked out there somewhere. Haven't been over for a cup of tea today, but we will do. He had a good race. And as you can see, calm before the storm. But the beautiful thing about the IGT Championship, the International GTs, is that you've got 2 different cups, or 3. You've got the Maranello Cup, the Stuttgart Cup, and you've also got mixed in with the Maseratis. You saw that beautiful Maserati. Nice to have some different marks out there as well. And there's a nice look at the last corner on the track. Don't forget, we've got plenty of historic racing coming your way. After the IGT, we start our Group 1, 3, 4, 5B groups. We've also got something really special coming up. We've got a group at, 4:35 local time. That's here in New York. That's the Bugattis. They're a really beautiful set of Bugattis. And there you go, there's the setup. That's what you need. You get your RV, you got your wood for night, you got the Barbie going, got the mixers, and then you head out to the grandstands. We've also got HTA, which is Historic Trans Am, and if you haven't seen them in action before, it really is quite a sight, because Historic Trans Am is just that. It's the cars from the late 60s and early 70s, all painted in exactly the same color schemes as they were back then, but with modern drivers, effectively. And that one is a good one. And we finished the day off today with Group 6 and 12, certainly one of Ben Sissel's favorites. There's also qualifying later for the TA, XGT, SGT, and GTs. So we're looking forward to that one too. And remember, TA is tomorrow, and if you're wondering when, it's 11:05 local time Eastern. That's the TA feature race 2 of the Trans Am series, and in between then, interspersed between them, will be all the SVRA. And Tony Perella celebrating 10 years at the top of SVRA and Perella Holdings this weekend. He signed the contract literally a year ago. We'll also be remembering September 11th and giving a moment of silence for Queen Elizabeth II, who passed away just a few days ago. And we're just waiting for the opening ceremonies to get underway. Everybody repositioning and getting ready for the IGT race. They've already had one race, as Ben was saying yesterday, so they have a lot of racing and a lot of track time. Is that a full-size banana? That is. That's 3 bananas. Wow. That is, you don't want to slip over there. We're staying in Corning, about 25 miles away from here, but it's a beautiful drive through the countryside. And if you've not been to this part of the state, it's a wine-growing district, and we were down at the Grand Prix venue. And as we mentioned earlier, they celebrate the Grand Prix, which began in 1948, where they ran around the streets of Watkins Glen. But of course, that's a little bit hairy. And so when it started getting more prestigious, they decided to build a proper track in 1956. And from there on in, as they say, the rest is history, because Watkins Glen has been a regular feature in motor racing. It was the home of Formula One for 20 plus years, for many years. Also Can-Am. 6 Hours of the Glen is probably its most popular race in sports cars, and of course Trans Am has been a regular since the late 60s, and this is where Tony Perella got his first taste as a 10-year-old at this very venue, and he came here and he didn't race it until 2011, so a great weekend for Tony Perella. So as the flags fly high, let's once again go down to Ben Sissel as we get ready for our opening ceremonies.
2 cars, International GT for the Community Beer Works International GT Enduro hour-long race with a 5-minute pit stop where they can change tires, change drivers, refuel. The reason that we do that, and you see it in other racing series where the pit stops sometimes take 3 seconds or 30 seconds, it's to give the drivers a chance. It's a safety thing. We want drivers to refuel safely. We want their teams to be safe. We also want the new drivers to come in and buckle in. So that's the best way to make it even. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is International GT, and we're going to do a moment of silence for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her death just a few days ago. So if you will bow your heads for a moment of silence for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That reminds me of a great photo of Queen Elizabeth II checking the oil of Nick Mason from Pink Floyd's Ferrari. She was a gearhead herself. We also have here, I want to introduce the Boy Scout Troop 87 from Big Flats, New York, as our color guard here. Let's have a round of applause for our color guard here. Troop 87, Big Flats, New York. Now we go for the invocation. Marvin Gray, it's great to have you out here. He's always going up and praying with all the drivers, keeping them safe. Great thoughts. Marvin Gray, take it away.
Heavenly Father, We thank you for the opportunity to race in the beauty of your creation. Now we ask your blessing and protection on each and every one who's a part of the event, the drivers, the crews, the officials, and thank you for all the fans who came out to support us. Now we remember our troops and safety forces and our emergency workers as they protect us. And as we think about a hurting world, we remember 9/11 as the anniversary comes on, all those hurting from that. Lord, we do remember our British brothers and sisters as they mourn the Queen, and we pray for an end of the war in Ukraine. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Marvin Gray, thank you so much. Now to deliver us the national anthem. This is quite a treat coming back with us because she does such a fantastic job. Anna Hurt, take it away.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh my goodness, Anna Hurt, absolutely beautiful, unbelievable. So, Chris Smith here to deliver the most famous words in motorsports. Community Beer Works, a great international GT sponsor. Chris, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
So as the cars burst into action, we'll be underway. I just want to remind you, we've already had one international GT race this weekend, and that was won by Tom Pank. We just got a quick onboard shot of Tom's car just a moment ago. He's in the number 42. Mark Mathis was second in the number 77, and Patrick Hogan on the podium in the number 9. There's the 42 of Tom Pank, the all green, you can't miss him. And the Panks are here, there, and everywhere. There's plenty of Panks out there today, I think 3 in all. But no question about it. Todd Sloan also in the 25, watch out for him. Jody Miller pairing with Pippa Mann, who we heard from there in the 3A. And 77 also there. I'm just trying to look down the list of where he finished yesterday. But let me just take you through the top 10 anyway. Tom Pank won the race. Mark Mathis, Patrick Hogan in third. Juan Gonzalez and Butch Leitzinger in fourth position. Todd Sloan, fifth. Darius Trinker, sixth. Lucas Pank. I tell you, there were a lot of Panks out there. Was seventh. Jody Miller and Pippa Mann. They took eighth. Edward Baus and Scott Berkowitz in ninth. And top 10 rounded out by Jeffrey Freeman. And actually, quite a few of these drivers for the first time, they are regulars to IGT, but they're also racing in Trans Am, doing double duty today. Steve Hammond is one of them, and Jody Miller another. So welcome to the Trans Am field to both of them. So they are having a busy weekend. And Ben Sissel will be in the booth in a moment, and he will also be joined by Ken, who we just spoke to earlier, the man who organizes, Ken Fengler, the man who organizes these events, and they are really a spectacular run, and they get plenty of time on track and a huge field of over 50 cars. So I'm going to bring Ben in now as we get ready to go racing.
All right, Jonathan, thank you so much. This is going to be quite a race. Really excited for this. 52 cars, I think, are going to take the green flag. And if you've been following along with International GT, when I started with Ken, I think in about 2016 or 17, there were maybe 6, 8 cars out there. But now he's having to sell out. So if you're wanting to race with us in International GT, make sure you get your sign-ups in early. So I don't have a grid sheet yet for International GT, but look at these beautiful shots here from the drone. But ladies and gentlemen, as they're warming up, if you don't mind, we are going to send it to commercials as we get organized up here in the announcer's booth. So we're going to send it to commercials right now, but we'll be right back with this Community Beer Works International GT Enduro.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race-proven and street legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
Feel the power. Experience the excitement. You're in the driver's seat. At Skip Barber, you learn from the best. Whether you are a new driver that wants to learn accident avoidance or a seasoned racer looking to improve, we have a program for you. We're your #1 destination for auto racing and driving schools. Skip Barber. Feel the power.
All right, welcome back. Look at this beautiful views up here, Watkins Glen International. Here we are at Fixie Wheels is one of the sponsors here with International GT. That's Tom Pank there in that Fixie Wheels beautiful Porsche GT, as I believe that might be Dave Cole out there splitting here. There's David Tuati. There's that Jody Miller Pippa Mann car we saw. Bob Wyson is that number 27. Blazard is the 33. There's Jimmy Adams and Mike Skinner in the number 143. I'm just going off the top of my head here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have a grid sheet to announce these drivers. But now we're on board in the Fixie Wheels Tom Pank. Ultra Motorsports Porsche. I believe that's a 4R. And then you can see right now we've got 400 cars here at this Hilliard U.S. Vintage Grand Prix with the Community Beerworks International GT races and the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli Franklin Road Apparel Classic. So we've got Trans Am International GT, a Bugatti reunion, and the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association all here for the Hilliard U.S. Vintage Grand Prix, one of our favorite races of the weekend, as we see right now through that fixie wheels camera of Tom Pank, just trying to get some heat in the tires. The pace car has to go this slow because we have such a huge field of cars. They have to get out of the pit. They have to be split into the pit lane, and you can see this huge field. How beautiful is that as they come into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers bus stop?
Yeah, it's a huge field. Really impressive indeed, and can't wait for this. Like I said, they've already had one run already, so they're dialed in. Some of them doing double duty, but perfect conditions, Ben.
Yeah, oh yeah, we could not ask for better conditions. I don't know what the track temperature is out there, but I would say it's ideal. The track, you can see the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers. You can see the crowd starting to gather around. There's Mark Matisse there. Lucas Pank, father and son out there racing. We also have the Hammonds, father and son out there racing like we talked about with Judas. We have husband and wife out there competing against each other. So this is always a lot of fun. 3 different groups, lots of different classes. We've got the Maranello Cup, which is obviously the Ferraris. The Stuttgart Cup is the Caymans. And then we have a lot of Mission Foods GT3 Cup trophy cars in different classes. We have the what Ken Fangler calls the 4.1 class. We've got the 4-liter class. We've got the 3.8, the 3.6s. So lots of different people. As we look there on what we call the cars are coming in the toe of the boot here at Watkins Glen. We are at the heel of the boot with our beautiful drone shot, and the cars are coming down the laces. So you'll hear a lot of people refer to the toe, the heel, and the laces of the boot. We're on the sole of the boot right now as he follows around Kyle, our pace car driver. If you're following along on Speed Tour TV on YouTube or our Facebook channels, please leave some comments where you're watching from, who you're rooting for, and we'll be reading those as well. As we look at all these campers out here, what a beautiful weekend the campers have.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying it's like the end of summer, really, isn't it? It's a beautiful day here, but it's pretty much, once you get into mid-September, there's not a lot of opportunity to get out and get the tent out anymore. So last hurrah of summer here in New York, and a great festival of color and noise, and long may it continue. But yeah, just absolutely loving the weekend here so far.
So I don't know what's going on. We're changing it a little bit. In driver's meeting, International GT and SVRA cars were doing the short course, the NASCAR course for pace laps, and they just did the whole course as they come into Franklin Roads Apparel Turn 11.
And the lights are off, so I guess we're going racing.
Take a start here. Reg Williams on the right side of your screen right now. Tom Pank on the left side. We're going to see what's going to happen.
Okay, gathering up for the start then towards the Mission Foods. Turn 1, the green flag waves, and we are International GT Racing, race 2. Good clean start, everybody spreading out. And these are all professional drivers. They know how to handle these Porsches, how to stay out of trouble, and how, more importantly, to last the full hour.
Look at this as they go up the uphill S's. That's Bob Weissen there in the 27. Now we're on board the fixie wheels camera of Tom Pank coming through. He's 152 miles an hour, 55. He might hit 158 to 160 there as he hits hard on the brakes into the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers, followed by Lucas Pank. Reg Williams has been passed by several cars. There's David Tuwadi there in that bright orange TLM car. David was not happy with his performance yesterday and hopes to make up for it here today as they all come cleanly through the bus stop, Jonathan. This is some great images here, isn't it?
Yep, Lucas Pank leading Jody Miller. Thomas Ballister in, third position at the moment. And starting to get the field into a regular position now. Lucas Pank leading the way then.
No, it's off because Thomas Pank clearly is leading the race here. Our machines are off. We're mixing our grid sheets. So we're going to have to go off the top of our heads here, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for these glitches, but it looks like from what I can see, Lucas Pank is in third place. Mark Matisse there is in first in that group, but he's second place overall, followed by David Tuwati. Then there's Reg Williams. That's Jody Miller there in that all-blue number 3 coming around, followed by Jimmy Adams in that Featherlight Trailers car. That's Blazard in the number 33, but there is Tom Pank, looking like he has it hooked up, followed by Mark Matisse, followed by Lucas Pank. And Lucas Pank, to my knowledge, is in just a 3.6. Maybe he's in the 3.8 this weekend, but he's doing a really great job if he's in that 3.6. Now it looks like we're back up to live as they cross the start-finish line.
Yep, there you go. That's official. Tom Pank, Marcus Mattis, and Dave Tuwati, as you mentioned, in third.
There's that 33A of Blazard, I believe from Kansas City, Missouri. And it looks like he's trying to pass Wyson, but Wyson shuts the door, and there's Tom Pank. Now remember, you can see the timer, 42 minutes up there. This is supposed to be an hour-long enduro. We might have had to cut it a little bit short, but there is a mandatory 5-minute pit stop, as we were talking to Pippa Mann in the pits, and she has a strategy with her Jody Miller. If it goes full course yellow, she might be in the car, but if not, she might keep him in the whole time. And we're going to see Jody Miller tomorrow in the Trans Am XGT, GT, and SGT races. And there's Stephen Hammond coming from the back all the way up to, I'm not sure the position, but he seems to be about midway through. It looks like he's 18th at the start finish. He's probably 15th or 16th now as they come around the toe of the boot.
Perfect conditions for racing, Ben, and as the field spreads out, obviously we will see them catch up to some of the slightly slower cars as the race goes on, but there are different, classes and different championships going on, so that won't be a surprise.
So it looks like Lucas Pank has dropped back behind Reg Williams. So David Tuwati and Reg Williams got it back. Now Jimmy Adams trying to make a pass. There's Bob Wyson and Blazard still as they come into WeatherTech Raceway, turn 9. Sorry, WeatherTech, turn 9. Look at this racing. This is some fantastic racing we've got out there, Jonathan. Yeah, coming into Mission Foods, turn 1. There's Jody Miller, followed by Jimmy Adams. This looks like the battle out there, but we've got Tom Pank in first. Reg Williams in second, I think, is what I was showing. Did he get by him? No, there's Mark Matisse. So it's Tom Pank, Mark Matisse, David Tuwati, Reg Williams, and then there's Lucas Pank.
He's in 5th place, yeah. Jody Miller behind him. Thomas Ballister in 9th position, and Robert Wyson in 10th.
That's not right, though. Yeah, that's what we're showing, but that's, I think Thomas Ballister would be in about 8th. There's Jody, Jimmy Adams, Bob Wyson, still the battle as we look further back. There's our first, well, Steve Hammond moving his way up. That is crazy. All right, we just got grid sheets for International GT. Somebody stopped there at the bus stop. I saw a green car. I'm not sure.
No bus is coming, though.
In the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers bus stop as we ride on board here through the heel of the boot with Tom Pank in that Fixie Wheels camera car leading the way. Now, yesterday in race 1, Tom Pank was really frustrated. He thought he was being shown a black flag. He admittedly jumped the start. He came in under the black flag that wasn't for him, so he we called it, he self-imposed a penalty for his admittedly jumping a start, came into the pits, talked to somebody at black flag, and then went back out and I think finished 6th or 7th overall, which was pretty amazing. As here we go back to battle with Bob Wyson, who was in a great shootout for his championship just last year. These cars handle. If you're wondering, I don't believe Ken Fangler imposed an out of bounds for the drivers at turn 10 or turn 1, but he could correct me on that. Trans Am has no boundaries. SVRA is 4 wheels off, and you'll be penalized. But there's Bob Wyson coming in. So it's Tom Pank in first, Mark Matisse, followed by Reg Williams in third, David Tuati. And then my scoring is showing Steve Hammond, which is not correct. Trying to work this out here. Lucas Pank is fifth. Brady Bierman is sixth. Jody Miller, seventh. Jimmy Adams, eighth. Thomas Ballister, ninth. Bob Wyson, 10th. And that green car is cleared. There was a green car there just as we go. That's Steve Hammond there in that red car coming through with TLM. He has worked his way up through the field. And I'm looking for the Caymans as we're back on board. The sole of the boot here with Tom Pank. Look at how relaxed he looks. You can see the bottom right, foot on the gas, foot on the brake. Comes down to 66. There is that green car that we saw, obviously having some troubles.
Yeah, it looks like he's got an intermittent problem of getting the engine going because he just seems to sort of lurch forward and then slow down again. So obviously problems for him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's Christopher Lee, 2016 Porsche GT3 Cup car. And here's still the battle. Jimmy Adams, Jody Miller here as they come around WeatherTech turn 9. Jimmy Adams, of course, racing with Featherlight coaches as we see Chris Lee duck into the pits. Thank you, Chris. And Lucas Pank is having that battle right there. Lucas Pank, and I believe that's Tom Ballister. Look, he's trying to get in the draft. That's Brady Bierman in a 2016 Porsche GT3 Cup car and a 3.8 liter. Lucas Pank and Brady Bierman going at it. And then there's Jimmy Adams, Jody Miller, Bob Wyson. Some great battles. This is the beauty of International GT is even a couple laps in, it spreads out, and there are great front battles, there are great mid-pack, there are great back-pack, then there's the Caymans. So it's just good racing throughout, which is making for some really fun viewing here for our scores of spectators all around the track, and beautiful weather as you can see here. Beautiful Seneca Lake area of what people call upstate New York, but we're in kind of southern New York. There's David Tuati, Reg Williams there. They've had some great battles throughout the season. I'm sure Stephen Hammond would like to catch up to David Tuati. And David Tuati and Nathan Bird had some great races. They were splitting the car yesterday. Nathan Bird put it at the top step yesterday. And there's Mark Matisse from Put-in-Bay. So now they're starting to catch up to the Caymans in the Stuttgart Cup. So now that they're getting up to lap traffic, you can see the marbles bouncing around the track, and these great shots of green lights getting us here at Mission Foods Turn 1 at Watkins Glen.
And Ben, just for the audience that may not have seen an IGT race, explain the strategy of either having two drivers or when to make that pit stop.
Yeah, they want to make the pit stop, obviously, in double yellow because then they can they don't
lose
out
time.
so
Yeah,
much. Yeah, because it's a mandatory 5 minute. But a lot of times it's just friends, or maybe they have a driving coach, like with Mark Matisse. Sometimes he'll have Aaron Quine or Mike Skeen racing with them.
Yeah.
Like we saw at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. David Tuati, I think, has Nathan Bird. We've got Jody Miller and Pippa Mann, but we can see now here clearly with the Fixie Wheels camera that it looks like he's coming up on some of these Caymans. And this is not a great place to catch him. I think he's going to try to gap himself here and then try to get him at the sole of the boot here. Let's see. Good. Every racer's told to hold their line. We saw also there the blue flag being waved by Watkins Glen, so thank you for those blue flags, telling the drivers that you've got there might be a car coming up to pass you. So we love the corner workers throwing out the blue flags. We love Tom Pank racing there cleanly, making sure he gets by. He's got a good gap, so he doesn't have to risk anything out here. But if you know anything about Tom Pank, you never know what's going to happen. Do you, Ken Fangler?
That's the absolute truth, Ben. We don't know what's going to happen, but just an excitable boy, as they might say, but in a good way. A great enthusiastic competitor. Races here with his sons, and he's out front right now.
Yep. Yeah, no, we're not talking trash. I think Tom Pank, he loves to give it as much as he loves to take it and dish it out. So Tom Pank's a longtime friend of International GT and personal friend of mine. And it's an honor to have him out here with us, racing like he is in that Fixie Wheels camera car as he's navigating this Stuttgart Cup pretty evenly here.
Yeah, you know, Tom will be the first to get out of the car and complain about slow traffic, and I go, Tom, isn't that what sports car racing is about? Being able to navigate the challenges and that's put in front of you. And he said he just smiles and walks away.
Sebastian Coppola there in that beautiful white Ferrari with the Maranello Cup, giving Tom Pank some room as they come around this carousel here. This is a difficult area, and now he also has to know that these cars are in their own race, so they might not be looking in their mirrors too much because this is a close race here in the Stuttgart Cup. And Ken, I can see your legs tightening and twitching over there as you're watching this.
Yeah, I'm seeing, you know, some things being sorted out. We've got quite a bit of time to go, quite a bit of racing, but things are settling into a groove, and it will be about moving forward, playing the traffic, and also obviously the strategy of the pit. And, you know, that always comes into play, it seems, in these Enduros. Will there be a yellow, will there not? And we will see.
Yeah, so you're hearing the voice of Ken Fangler, president and owner of International GT, at this beautiful Community Beer Works International GT Enduro, as he's passing right here the Community Beer Works car. Ooh,
oh boy, yeah.
That was a little too close for comfort. That was about a beer can between them.
I think that was, yeah, cheers right there. Yes, it certainly was.
So explain the involvement here with Community Beer Works in this event.
Well, Tom Kopinski came to us about 3 weeks ago, and he knew he was going to be racing here with us. He runs in a number of the series, and he said, gee, we'd like to be involved with sponsorship for this particular race. We're a Buffalo-based brewery, and we put it together. It's Chris Smith, his manager there at the brewery, got in touch with him, and they've been here all weekend. This is their first foray into this type of motorsports. They do some other local short track stuff. And they do other sports. I think they're very involved with their very victorious Buffalo Bills this past Thursday. But first time, you know, here at Sports Car Racing, and I think they're enjoying it. And we're enjoying the beer. That's the great part.
Yeah, the Community Beer Works and the Mission Chips, what better combination can you have than that? As we see now Mark Matisse and David Twatty and Reg Williams trying to work their way through, but this is where it gets a little bit, I don't know, tense in my mind, because these Caymans are having their own race, like I said, and they're not so concerned about what's going on in their mirrors sometimes as they are what's happening with their own race in front of them. So it's up to the faster car to pick a good place to make the pass. That's what International GT is all about. It is up to the Mark Matisses, the David Tuatis, the Reg Williams to pick a good time to make a pass. We've got a long time left in this race. So make sure you're doing that to finish the race. You first have to make some good, clean passes on these cars.
Look at that crowd there. Wow, amazing how many people showed up here at Watkins Glen for this Speed Tour event.
Yeah, it's so much fun to see. And I tell you what, crowd, if you're watching this on Speed Tour TV, the drivers notice it. You don't think they can hear you, but they can hear you. So make sure you're loud out there, you're waving your flags and telling them you're rooting them on, because they love it. These drivers, a lot of the places we go to don't have this kind of crowd, so they love coming out here and feeling like they're Mario Andretti for an afternoon. Maybe in International GT's case, they feel like Derek Bell for an afternoon.
There we go. Yes, our brand ambassador and good friend.
Now that's David Tuwati. Something I love about International GT is I think you kind of put fun first as the priority. Let's have fun first, and then let's be safe and some good, clean racing kind of second. And David Tuwati, who's usually having a great time, gets up on the podium yesterday. First time I've ever heard a driver completely blame themselves for their performance, and I love that.
Yeah, he was not on his game yesterday as he watched him, you know, in the 8th or 9th positions in yesterday's races, which is kind of unlike him, certainly. And so he was not happy with his own performance.
Now, I don't know how to say Rick's last name there. That's Rick Iorio?
Yeah, that's what I'll go with that.
Porsche GT3 Cup that he just passed there, Tom Pank. And then that's the 47 there of Albert Lukasik, the 2015 Porsche GT3 Cup car.
Yep, that's correct. Yep. Here with his wife.
Oh yeah, his wife Judith is out there racing too. We talked to her earlier on the grid. So Fixie Wheels just came on board with you here at Sebring this year. And what a great partner to have, a great wheel company like Fixie Wheels, who has a long history in Porsche.
Yeah, Brant's here this weekend taking in the race. Matter of fact, he might join us here in the booth shortly. So great to have Brant here in the Fixie brand talking with his customers, which are our customers, and potential business to be done, and a great partnership.
So Tom Pank now looks like he's got a clear track in front of him as he hits his marks. We saw the other Hammond going through there into Mission Foods, turn 1. Oh, Mark Matisse coming into the pits. This might be one of our first front runners coming into the pits here. And we'll see, you see his teammate there waving him, and Reg Williams, another one of our front runners. So we're going to see what happens here. Mark Matisse is kind of notorious for having some big pros coming in and driving. We see other teams telling their drivers to come in. So this is a big strategy as we see RS1 coming out here to change the brand new tires, brand new Pirelli P0s. And who do we have here in the booth with us? If you'll introduce yourself, you're with Fixie Wheels, is that correct?
My name is Brant Gladstone.
Let me get this a little closer to you.
All right. Thank you.
So welcome on board, Brent, with Fixie Wheels. I can't tell who that is getting in to the car there with Mark Matisse, but if I'm judging by the height, is that Skeen? So Mike Skeen gets out of the TA2 race car, starting in the back of the field, finishing in the top 8 and getting in. So look for Mark Matisse to come in as Lucas Pank drives around here. Now, when I think of Fixie Wheels, I think of those Porsche wheels. Seems like you guys were kind of famous for that. So did this International GT seem kind of like an easy fix or an easy fit for Fixie Wheels?
Oh, most definitely. When we reached out to Ken, he was totally tickled pink to have us as a sponsor. We've supported many race series throughout the world. International GT is just an envelope that we can definitely slide into. International and Trans Am as well.
Yeah, well, this is a good weekend to be here then as we look at them closing those really light doors on those Porsches. Yeah, that is Mike Skeen. You can see there on the helmet. So how cool is that? There's Kelly Heafy, his girlfriend there, and Mark Matisse and Mike Skeen. They've had a partnership for a while. They were with us at Daytona just this last, I think, December. And he rode Atlanta with us, but now we're in the Fixie Wheels camera car, Tom Pank. So walk us around here. What are you seeing here, Brent?
Well, he's certainly flat out. He takes no prisoners. He's a great guy in and out of the car. We spent a lot of time with him this weekend, and he's a joker. He's a complete race driver. He respects everybody inside and outside, regardless of who they are.
But loves to have fun. I got to throw some more shade at Tom Pank. If you ever hear a golf cart squealing its tires, that is Tom Pank coming up right behind you. He does it to me 10 times a weekend. Just scaring you to death, and then he's just giggling like an 8-year-old.
I had an introduction just like that the other night.
Yeah, that's kind of his trademark thing, and we hear it. Sometimes throughout the paddock we hear that, and we go, well, there's Tom Pank again. So here we're back on board in this Fixie Wheels camera car of Tom Pank, hitting his marks and going fast. 130 here he should hit before he almost 140 there as he comes into the heel of the booth.
Yeah, he's a killer when it comes to this car. He walked me through the whole chassis the other night, showed me all his ins and outs of what he likes in terms of his seat. Oh, a little wiggle there. He's on the power early. He knows he wants to lay down a hot lap.
Coming around Franklin Road, turn 11 there. Tom Pank, our current leader here at the Community Beer Works International GT Enduro at Watkins Glen International. Beautiful car. I tell you what, those that lime green, that day glow green really shows up.
Yeah, unmistakable. You know when he's coming up behind you or if he's in the field, regardless, he shows up.
Now I'm seeing some wiggling as he's on the gas and he's hard on the brake. So, you know, this is an endurance race. Look at, he looks relaxed though. You can see his hands here in the bottom right-hand corner. He looks relaxed, but there's been a couple times that we've seen him get a little bit loose in the rear end. We'll see as he gets hard on the brakes here coming into Big Machine Vodka Spike Cooler's bus stop.
Yeah, he could be experiencing some hot track and hot tires at this point.
Everybody's coming in here.
Coming in, yeah.
Lucas Pank coming in. There's Stephen Hammond in that red car. So it looks like they've all abandoned the full course caution and they're all coming in. So we might see Pippa Mann get into the car as we see the Community Beer Works 520 car come in. So this is the big, I love this camera shot here. Thanks for staying on this because this is the big strategy. I'm not getting any alerts of a caution, but this has the looks of a caution with all these cars coming in at the same time.
They're probably all experiencing hot tires, hot track, and probably running out of water in the car.
Yeah, that is true. Look, we see water coming right here to Stephen Hammond, who I don't think is changing drivers in this race. But I do notice they're all coming in pointed
on
out.
an angle.
You know, they're not coming straight in, they're pointed out.
Yeah.
And here at Watkins Glen, it is a downhill pit lane, so if they can't get it started, sometimes they can bump start.
That's a good call.
We've got a car here off at the bus stop. We appreciate them pulling off there because we don't have to stop racing for where they pulled off there. They'll give a local yellow for about a lap just to alert people where they are as we get a thumbs up from Steve Hammond as he's getting some water. It doesn't look like they're in a hurry. No refueling, they're just checking the temperatures of the tires and then checking the pressures.
I'd like to thank TLM. They've been hosting me this weekend. We're working with them, and we're excited to see how they operate. They're top notch. Those guys are a great group to hang out with.
Yeah, they bring the party wherever they go. That's one thing about Dave Tuati and his crew.
Yeah.
They bring that Miami flair, even up here in upstate New York.
Yeah. And it continues off track as well.
So we're seeing Mike Skinner there, just beyond Black Flag, getting into the Jimmy Adams Featherlight coach's car.
I just came off the pit, and it was getting really hot down there, so everybody's feeling it.
176 is James Hammond, Steve Hammond's dad, coming into the pits there. And so I wonder what Kurt's saying right now to Tom Pank, saying, I wonder if he's saying, hey, you want to come in? Oh, I'm hearing that the plot thickens. Ken Fengler's telling me in my ear that they have to come in at the 20-minute mark. So expect Tom Pank to duck into the pits here and see what happens. And now, if a caution comes out, that's really going to change the look of this race for Tom, as Mark Matisse and Reg Williams and Dave Tuati might try to catch up to him here. As look at all the teams waving him in. Yeah, he's got a pit here, doesn't he? There's Colin Cohen there, and that beautiful Maserati, Norwood Italia, Auto Italia Maserati coming in. Great shots here from Tony, the cameraman, as we see Colin Cohen stepping out. And this is why we do the 5-minute pit stops, ladies and gentlemen. We want to just have the drivers take their time, no hurry. So much safety involved here as we watch from the Fixie Wheels camera of Tom Pank coming in. We might be able to hear him here. Get ready for that bleep button. Looks like he's just a little cough. He doesn't seem to be heat on high at all. It looks like the race has come to him. He doesn't seem to be yelling at Kurt, his mechanic. So sounds like everything's good. There's Dave Tuati. He should be coming out, basically, from what I saw. So now he's out and should have a clear. Nope, but it looked like he ducked into the pits. I thought he had already pitted. He didn't pit? Okay, so he's the last car in, is what I'm hearing from Ken. I just heard Tom Pank say something's running a little hot. That just might be the tires or the brakes. Doesn't look like he's in a hurry to do anything. So looks like all smooth sailing right there for Tom Pank. What do you see him, Brent?
Yeah, he had his arm up on the steering wheel like it was a Sunday drive for him, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Obviously, he's seeing stuff and feeling stuff in the car that we don't feel or see. But if he can continue moving forward and staying forward, he's probably going to pull out a checkered flag here.
Now, straight ahead, you see Alex Miller watching from his scooter, watching Tom Pank. And Alex Miller also knows Tom Pank's reputation and he's kind of the overall director of this this whole event. But you know, he also doesn't seem real panicked. I think he's just making sure we have rules that only certain crew members coming over at certain times. If they're going to refuel, they have to wear gloves and a helmet. If they're not going to refuel, they can come over just as is. So Alex is probably responsible for those as we watch Lucas Paint coming out. There's Steve Hammond.
You're probably going to see maybe some cars get heat soaked sitting for 5 minutes in this heat. They may or may not start again. They're probably going to have to get push started.
Explain heat soaked. I'm not.
Well, when a car's running hard and then it comes in and stops, you could get vapor lock in the fuel system. You could run into ignition issues, or any number of things, could overheat even. So that's crucial for any car going forward.
Well, now that's good to hear. As an MG British car guy, I can put my car away running fantastic, go to start it again, and won't start for days.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about Porsches, though, is that you can beat on them all day, and you just start them and they go. Occasionally they won't, but it's usually no fault of the driver.
So I just heard reports from race control. Sounds like somebody came out of the pits way too quick. We do have a speed limit down there, but I did just hear from Skip. They don't have a gun, so we don't go off the naked eye. We just go off of a gun. So we're going to see what happens here as we try to get our timing and scoring back up and working. But Brent, have you had a good weekend? Do you like being involved with this international GT?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We came out here letting Ken know that we were going to be a part of this, and he and Julie have been fantastic as well, allowing us to share their trailer and do some business as well. We're meeting with a lot of teams, discussing business going forward. We make wheels inside and outside the track. We can support your Honda Civic all the way to your C8 Corvette or your GT3 RS. We've really continued our storied tradition of supplying and supporting any form of racing and or customer base.
Now this is Steve Hammond. He flew in late. He's at chiropractic school and didn't get to do a lot of the testing and some of the qualifying. Has to start in the back of the field of some of these races, but usually one of our fastest racers. Gives Dave Tuati a run for his money. So now we're going to see how this thing shakes out with just a little over 16 minutes left. You can see the clock ticking down at the top there. You see Tom Penn coming out. Tom looks relaxed. We do have a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit in pit lane. That's what we were talking about earlier with the gun. And there's his son, Lucas Pank, who has just really taken to this. Been really impressed with Lucas Pank over the last few years, and seems the addiction bug to racing really seems to have bitten him, and he has some of the greatest races. He had an unfortunate event here last year. The craziest thing, this is so Panks. Right where he is, he ended up on his roof.
No.
And then the next day, I think he was back out there in the same car. Isn't that true, Ken? So that's so Pank of him to do that, as we see. Tom Pank seems to be going slower than 40 miles an hour, but they have to hit that 5-minute mark at the end of the timing. So there's lots of strategy here where Colin Cohen might have been upset because Colin Cohen might have timed it there a little bit better. Or actually, that'd be Chris Coffey in the car now taking over in that beautiful
I met
Italia Maserati.
The young Pank the other night, and I didn't even realize he was his son. He looked so young.
Yeah, and Lucas would come to us right out of school. I think he's graduated college now, but he was coming from college a lot of the races in the past few years. So here they come around. Lucas Pank looks like he's on it.
Yeah, he's flying. He's curb hopping. He's power down. He's looking for another victim.
Now let me talk about the camaraderie here in not just International GT, but in the paddock. So we've seen Tom Pank come out in his Flying Lizards Audi R8s. And Danny Lowry yesterday in Trans Am running an XGT broke apart from his Audi R8. Came to Tom. Tom gave him the keys to his shop. Danny Lowry drove through the night to Maryland, took the parts off of Tom's shelf, came back, and now he's going to be able to race in the Trans Am Series. So it's just kind of the camaraderie that we see throughout motorsports. Everybody, they want to race hard, and they don't give an inch on the track, but then we'll give them their B cars sometimes or anything they can to help them stay on the track.
Yeah, I mean, you see that all the way down to go-karting. All, you know, the lowest and fastest, doesn't matter. Camaraderie, guys want to race. They want people on track, and it's disappointing to have that conversation why they're not on track. If the car's broken, everyone steps up, everyone looks like they're prepared to help each other, and that's what I like about this series.
So Tom Pank's back on it, the Fixie Wheels camera car, as he comes up to Mark Matisse. Unfortunately, we're not able to get good timing results up here right now, but I'd love to know where this is all shaken out, because this is where it all happens here. Right now, I'm showing Tom Pank in 4th place, Mark Matisse in 3rd, but for some reason it won't show me my 1st or 2nd place. So there is Mark Matisse there in the Put-in-Bay car.
Did we see Mark Pitt?
Yes, yeah,
okay.
We saw him, and that's actually not Mark Matisse. Sorry, that's Mike Skeen.
Oh.
TA2 champion from a few years ago. He's raced in everything with IMSA, NASCAR. One of the best, smoothest drivers I've ever seen, period. I watch his in-car from different series, and the guy just looks like he's out on a Sunday drive, but he's putting in the best time.
Well,
So,
it looks like Pank is chasing him down. We're going to see if he's actually going to catch him and pass him.
No, that's going to be tough for Tom Pank. We saw a little bit of this at Road Atlanta. We saw Mike Skeen making up some time on Tom Pank. So we're going to see if Pank can get it. Or as Ken Fangler would say, we're going to see if Pank has anything left in the tank.
Well, he's hitting his marks, and you can tell maybe he's going to save those tires for the last 10 minutes. Both these cars look fantastic. When you walk through the pits and you see them on the, in their lying livery, they look fantastic.
Yeah, they always say smooth is fast.
Yeah.
And sometimes Mike Skeen, any car that Mike Skeen is in doesn't look like it's going that fast because it's so smooth. And then you look at your stopwatch and you're like, oh, well, he's half a second faster than anybody else on the track.
Yeah, let's see what he does here. If he holds up, or he's got to be patient through the S's here.
Yeah, and coming up against the different mixed group classes, but Mike Skeen has a ton of experience in mixed class racing. And see, there we saw just a little bit
twitch
there in the rear end
yeah.
of Tom Pank coming into these brake zones. It seems like anywhere that he's hard on the gas or hard on the brakes, the rear end's wanting to get out from under him a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. But there's Mike Skeen up against this little bit slower traffic.
Yeah.
But it's up to Mike Skeen, like we talked about, to make those passes.
Yeah.
The driver ahead is supposed to hold the line and not do anything out of the ordinary, and then the car behind is to make a safe pass.
Oh, 3rd gear.
Yeah.
He's holding it.
But I heard a little something in there.
Yeah, he might have been feathering the throttle there. He's trying not to burn up his tires. You can tell he wants to wait for the car to hook before he gets back on the power.
Watching his hands, he looks relaxed.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like, sometimes the driver will get a lot more up on the wheel if the car is getting away from him a little bit. So
yeah, we'll see how he does when he catches up to these slower cars. If they'll give him the same. Oh, here we go.
Well, that's Reg. So he's racing Reg Williams.
Yeah.
They should be probably in the same timing and scoring. I can't see that, but I'm just guessing here. They're in a race. There's David Tuati. They're probably all within the same 20-second window of each other. Okay, so right now, and this could be wrong, I'm showing Mark Matisse and Mike Skeen in 1st. David Wildrick, well, no, that's all changed again. Mark Matisse, then Reg Williams, then Tom Pank, and David Tuati is what I saw there for a second. But
that's a good-looking car.
Yeah, David Tuati, the flash is just as important as the racing for him. But does he have 2 sets of wheels on, or is that brake dust?
No, I think they're brake dust. Yeah, I think Yeah, because you see the
Yeah,
other
there's-
side, the
yeah,
right
there he's
side.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's got a lot of brake dust on his rear left. So
Yeah.
there is second place, Reg Williams, according to my timing and scoring. Tom Pank third, flashing his lights, and David Twatty fourth overall. We're going to see how this shakes out. And Ken, pardon my ignorance, but are Mike Skeen, Mark Matisse, Reg Williams, Tom Pank, are they all in the same class? Okay. But just like in any racing, there's lots of different goals for each driver. Sometimes it's the overall win, sometimes it's the class win, sometimes it's just a finish.
It's just a finish.
And to have the greatest race with your buddy in 32nd place. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about this kind of mixed class racing like this. And these campers here at Watkins Glen International are getting quite a show this weekend with full fields of cars. 52 cars took the green here in International GT, and just a lot of fun as they come into WeatherTech turn 9 here.
David's making moves. He's moving forward.
Yeah, you see that? Is that the wheel or is that the brake dust? I can't tell.
It might be brakes. It might be brakes because that one brake looks like it might be squeezing harder than the rest. Like I say, when these cars get hot, you never know what's going to change.
Yeah. Oh, Tom Long is in Reg Miller's car. Just heard. Ken. And then there is the 54B. Is that Rob? Rob Metcalf. We don't have a 54B. 548. 546. We're going to call that Ricardo Stewart Mill, 2013 Ford GT3 Cup. Tom Pank, hard on the curbs, Tom.
He's curb hopping.
He's trying to make some time up now.
He's straight lining that chicane, yeah. Oh, we got almost 7 minutes left. He's probably got another, what, 3 laps, realistically.
You can see there, that's a really difficult part of the track. A lot of people get it wrong there. It doesn't look it until you walk the track, but he was just very tightly hit, or just slightly hitting the brakes, feathering the throttle coming around that part of the boot. And we've seen a lot of people get it really wrong there. And if you get it really wrong there, it's kind of a weird camber to that turn. It's really a deceiving turn. It's why NASCAR isn't brave enough to run the boot.
Oh, this is an off-camber corner. This is a tough corner. You really have to wait for it.
Yeah, Dorsey Schrader took me around the track one time in my pickup truck and showed me the concrete gets really unlevel. There's a tunnel there, and when they poured it, there's a couple of bumps there that are just in the worst spots possible. And sure enough, that day in Trans Am, we had somebody get it really wrong there, and it was because of those bumps. So you get all kinds of insight from the different drivers of things that they're looking out for. It's really fun to see. But there's Mark Matisse. Sorry, Mike Skeen. I keep saying that. Mike Skeen, currently our leader according to timing and scoring here in this Enduro, and he seems to. I love the drivers when they wear white gloves. Mike Skeen, you got my memo on that. Thank you so much. White gloves really show what the hands are doing there, and we can see him working the wheel. Tom Pank behind him, trying to close, but I think that's a tall order. 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see how he cuts through these back markers. Makes up a lot of time if he can. The car looks strong still. Can he make 2? Oh, he can make 2, yeah. I'm sure a lot of the drivers, when they see Tom coming, they realize that they might have to move out of the way.
Yeah, I think it's a huge advantage for Lucas.
Yeah.
Because I think people might be like, I'm not even judging if that's Tom or Lucas. I'm just going to get over for him. So I'm here in timing and scoring, making sure that everybody's made a pit stop. Janet Harhay, our queen of timing and scoring, talking to Skip down there on the grid, making sure everybody's legal. I love it. Twatty's kind of closed the gap on Tom Pank.
Yeah, I think Tom might have got held up a little bit through those back markers, and Tuati's making up the difference. You can see that's one of his cars, Tuati, right there.
Yeah, don't knock out your customer.
No,
Dave.
no, you got to be respectful. But it looks like the door should have been left open a little bit more for him. Here it goes.
There's one of our Maranello Cups, Sebastian Coppola there, and James is going to give him, but I think he's closed the gap a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if Pank's tires are going off a touch.
Ooh, and you can see he got a little front wheel slip there. Tuati did, had to kind of make a little overcorrection coming out of one. Excuse me, Mission Foods turn one.
I know that they made a lot of changes to that car overnight after the sprint race, race 2. And they made a lot of camber and or compression rebound changes just to get that front end to bite a little bit better. It looks like it is working now.
Another great blue flag from our Watkins Glen safety team and corner workers. Love seeing that when appropriate. A lot of drivers will complain when they don't see it. Did you see something there?
Left a lot of rubber going out of that corner, yeah.
3 minutes left in this Community Beer Works International GT Enduro here at Watkins Glen International.
Yeah, it's funny, Pank came up to me the other day and said, hey, I'm changing the sticker on the dash. What color do you want? I said, let's put a red one up there. Let's fix these colors. He was like, yeah, no problem. Plus the glare with the sunshine.
Yeah, it looks good. Next time we need to reverse it so it's glared the right way, right? All right, well, there's Mike Skeen, I believe our current leader, followed by Reg Williams, followed by Tom Pank. Now, I'm having to go off of what my gut is saying, so I could be wrong here, but that's what I'm seeing with my naked eye because we're not getting the most reliable of our electronic scoring here with 2 minutes left as they come into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers. There's one of those yellow Ferraris in the Maranello Cup, but from my naked eye, there's Mike Skeen.
Yeah, oh. That's tight. That's tight. Looks like we're getting bunched up here near the last minute of racing. These guys are getting tired. They're getting hot. The cars are obviously showing their age as well during this race. You got to be mindful of everybody. You can't be late on the brakes and back into somebody.
And so, based on the time, Ken, if they come around and there's time left, they're going to get the white flag, correct? So we might have about a lap and a half left in this race here. And I think Mike Skeen, look at this great shot here as he comes around WeatherTech turn 9 with the white gloves. Thank you, Kelly and Mike, for getting our memo on these white gloves. That really just shows us so much because you can see their hands moving.
Yeah.
Come around Franklin Road, turn 10 and 11.
That's a great corner to stand at and watch. Yeah. When they power out of there, you can really feel the back pressure coming out of the exhaust when they shift coming out of there. It moves your feet.
All right, white flag has been shown at the starter stand. We are looking at what I believe to be our current leader, Mark Matisse and Mike Skeen, really showing us that driver skill and strategy really came in. They kind of came in first of the front runners and kind of set the tone for what all the other drivers had to do.
Yeah.
And again, we're seeing blue flags there from Watkins Glen. The safety crew is on it here. I really appreciate seeing that.
This is going to get pretty tight in the bus stop here.
There's Reg Williams, who I think
that was close.
Yeah, is currently second place in this race, and I think Tom Pank has really fallen way back. There he is, coming into view now in that day glow, and David Tuati's closed the gap. Let's see if Tuati can pull out a third overall. I don't think it's, Tom would have to really fall off for that to happen.
Yeah.
Ken, are you seeing anything different in the scoring than I'm reporting? Yeah. He says thinks that we're about right. Can't get the official yet, but there he is. There's our current leader, as I see it, Mike Skeen.
Yeah, final lap.
Just a couple more turns left, and the car just looks smooth and planted. And if I were a team owner, Mike Skeen is so gentle on equipment, always finds a way to finish races. So there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Skeen, Mark Matisse showing us how it's done. That beautiful PutInBay.org car of Mark Matisse. Congratulations, Mark and his whole team coming up from Put-in-Bay, Ohio, showing us how it's done here at the Community Beer Works endurance race with International GT. There's the Fixie Wheels camera of Tom Pank. Tom Pank, you know, finishes on the podium overall, but I think he's going to be a little disappointed in himself. And I think, honestly, I don't know if it was he or Kurt might have gotten their strategy just a little bit wrong. And I think David Tuati's got the car feeling good again.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a podium position for both those guys.
Good finishes here as we finish up on that Fixie Wheels, the uphill S's. One of my favorite parts of Watkins Glen. Usually that's a single file part of the track.
Yeah.
But Brent, so great to have you here in the booth with us, bringing Fixie Wheels along. I know Ken, when he told me about it at Sebring, we were putting up the banners and everything at Winter Circle. Excited to have Fixie Wheels. It just seems to be such a great fit for International GT and this high group of Porsches, but like you said, you do not only race cars, not only Porsches, but you can do anything.
Yeah, we have a storied history with racing all the way back to, you know, many wins at Daytona, wins at Le Mans, wins in international races all over the world. There's Tom giving everybody a thumbs up, waving at the fans. Yeah, no, Fixie's really, really proud to be a part of this organization.
Yeah. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that was so much fun to watch. The Community Beer Works race here with International GT. Brent, thank you so much for coming on board with Fixie Wheels. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to commercial, but stay tuned. We've got some great racing here on Speed Tour TV.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race-proven and street legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
Feel the power. Experience the excitement. You're in the driver's seat. At Skip Barber, you learn from the best. Whether you are a new driver that wants to learn accident avoidance or a seasoned racer looking to improve, we have a program for you. We're your #1 destination for auto racing and driving schools. Skip Barber. Feel the power.